Right, VB Amina.
Salam alaikum. Do you hear me?
Alaikum
Yes,
salam
wa
wa
alaikum
rahmatullahi
salam
wa
wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh.
barakatuh.
Yeah, I'm a bit off topic, but I want to hear your opinion about it because yesterday I watched a documentary about Afghanistan,
Mhm.
and
Where are you joining from, sister?
from Germany. I'm a
Okay, that's
revert
good.
from
Carry on.
Germany,
Yeah.
and it was also a German woman who lived in Afghanistan also after what happened there and when the Taliban took over. And
Mhm.
also, she especially talked and about women, yeah, and about the oppression they are living now, that they lost their jobs and couldn't work. Some of them could work when they are just women, but they have to stay at home now. They have financial problems because of the lost jobs and everything. And I had the feeling that maybe, I don't know, Dawah especially for non-Muslims, but I think maybe it's also important to teach these people with these false tradition about the false idea of Islam, because I have the feeling this is not Islam, of course. And Khadija, the wife of
Yeah.
the Prophet
Radiallahu anha.
ﷺ, was a very successful businesswoman, and and of course the first university was from a woman. And I felt so sad about these intelligent Muslim sisters who couldn't live their life with Islam like they should be. And I have the feeling that maybe some dawah is missing there, or some teachings for these backwards tradition in this culture. Um, and I
Yeah.
want to know
So
your opinion about it, or maybe because I have the feeling it's not the responsibility of the West, because they make it even more worse. It's the
yeah,
responsibility for the
I think
Muslim countries.
we need to take into consideration the fact that Dawah is not just for the non-Muslims. Dawah is for everyone, for Muslims and non-Muslims. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, everybody needs to learn about the Deen, and I would say particularly the Muslims, obviously. And sometimes what happens is that certain countries, they might have a particular practice in place, but it's not something that has been the teaching of Islam. For example,
I know, it's not
for example,
Islam.
in Saudi Arabia, they did not allow women to drive. Now that is the local regulation, nothing to do with Islam as such. Yeah, and similarly, the thing with what happened in Afghanistan, they also do this. But before we judge them, we need to understand the circumstance. Don't forget, the country is still recovering from this 20-year war that they had to endure. Yeah, there's a lot of poverty for both men and women, not just women. So there are many men who can't get education because there aren't enough teachers, there aren't enough schools, there aren't enough facilities for them. Now maybe there are circumstances where they prioritize the education for the men, because the men generally in these communities are the breadwinners.
Mm.
Okay, but one thing we need to understand is that we cannot generalize an entire country of millions of people saying that they all are backward.
No,
Okay,
I'm not. It's
yeah.
more like
So
I separate Islam, and of course I separate
yeah,
not every Afghanistan, but I mean the conflict between the traditions, between the tribes and what they learned about. And it's definitely against Islam in some of the teaching, or some of the things they do, or they raised up with it.
yeah. So there are many things where they mix their culture with the deen, and somehow they assume this is part of the deen as well. Okay, and this is not just in Afghanistan. I would say there are many countries all around the world, I would say, where they have this, unfortunately, this kind of mixing the culture and tradition with
Yeah.
the deen. Okay, and so we have to look at the holistic picture as to why they're doing this, what is the reason behind it, so on. And sometimes it's clearly wrong. There's no excuse for it, that women and men, this Islam doesn't actually say that there is no room for education for the women just because they happen to be a women. So inshallah, I think what we need to do is we need to look at the holistic picture and try to understand as to why they're doing it, and if they are wrong, we do criticize them, and we do hope that Allah gives them the hidayah
Inshallah.
and the understanding that they will not apply these restrictions just because of a gender,
Yeah,
because they're women.
it's
But
just,
like I said, we have to also at the same time understand the situation. As I said, 20 years war can
yeah, of course.
take the country decades behind.
Yeah, and I
We have to look at
understand,
all
and I
those things.
think,
Are there enough schools? What are we as Muslims doing? Maybe we
yeah,
can help them build schools there. you
yeah,
know
this is
there are
this
many
is
ways
what
we
I
can
mean.
help, and we can make this as a circumstance, inshallah.
Yeah, this is what I mean, exactly, because I think the West ruined it, of course, the country, and I think it will, and of course, to try their liberation or
Yeah,
the
absolutely. Yeah.
and their standards of democracy and LGBTQ or something, aliens and TV, ABC, or what alphabets they want to use. It's not that I want that the West will be go there again or something like this. I think it will be better than for the other Muslim countries to help one another. And I have a feeling that this is not really happen. Maybe I don't know a lot or much about it, but I have a feeling that this should be, they should more doing about this.
Yeah, inshallah.
The
um
Muslim countries to help Afghanistan to grow
yeah,
and to build and
absolutely.
to
Are you
educate.
from Afghanistan yourself, sister?
No, no, no.
You're
I'm
not. Okay,
German
you
revert.
just for the welfare of the people. I think Sister Bushra Ali, salam alaikum, she has something to
وعليكم
add.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم, Brother Hashim,
Salam.
Sheikh, and sister. I'm just here to clarify for the sister. Uh, I'm talking for us in the Arab world. So for us in the Arab world, if there is something in the culture, law in the culture itself that doesn't go against Islam, we take it. We have no problem with it if it's good and Islam doesn't go against it. But we also, in the Arab world, I'm talking about myself, my people, we don't put the West as our role model. So
Okay,
all this
just
about
I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't take the West morality about it. I just want to clarify. I mean, like, you know, the woman could make business when it's only woman around, and but also there are some traditions. They're more happy when they gave some, not everyone. I don't want to generalize it, but there are some regions when they are more happy that they give birth to sons instead of daughters, which is against Islam, because when you raise two daughters, you get, especially from Allah, given more barakah. But I mean, I don't mean put the West morality, because the West doesn't have one, on Afghanistan. This is not my point. My point is, I have the feeling that the Muslim countries should do more about it, and help them in the Islamic way, the real Islam.
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I get it, and I agree with you actually. But like, I cannot speak about all the Muslims world because culturally we're different. Like even Arab themselves are different.
Mm.
But anything goes against Islam, like ideally we shouldn't. I agree with you. But I know a lot of Muslims women who do have business. I know a lot of يعني, women in Saudi Arabia, in Emirates, in Qatar, in Kuwait, in Syria, everywhere, who do have like jobs. But my problem is when like a sister or a brother will come and say like, give them freedom, let them go to work or to have education. But what is her choice? If it's her choice, she doesn't want to go to work, she doesn't want to have a job, it's to her, leave it. It's
Of
not going
course,
against to
if she doesn't want to.
Islam. Yeah, that's it. That's all I want to clarify for you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
It's not that I said every woman should work now. Yeah, it's not, or to feel oppressed as a housewife. Housewife is a very honorable doing, and a very honorable role. I have 3 kids, and I would be happy if the
Allah
money will be
tabarak Allah.
here enough to just stay at home with my kids, but the financial situation in Germany is a little bit different. But um, of course, if but on the other side, if a woman wants to work, or if a woman maybe wants to learn more, to go to the university and to educate in a maybe only woman university, I think this should be possible for every Muslim woman. This is my
You
opinion.
know,
It is.
you
Like,
know,
it is. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm
Go,
muted.
Sheikh.
I would like to hear what the Sheikh has to say on this topic.
well, you know, like Brother Hashim, you spoke about the 20 years of war that was absolutely, but not only the 20 and the 40 before. It's been war for over 60 years. But what really these Westerners that make programs like this, and they try to show the lack of democracy in certain Muslim countries. Let's remember, during 20 years, they couldn't build universities to house, because most of the problem that they have, certain universities, and I think two or three of them, they are mixed, and they did not want to have free mixing. They wanted to have universities for women and universities for men. The thing about it, it was very impossible to have that. So in order to prioritize, we prioritize men. Why? Because men, as to regarding the Sharia, they are the breadwinners. If I am married and my wife, even if she works, even she's a businesswoman, she does not contribute to the house one penny. I am the one, the sole bread winner that needs to sustain the family. So if I am ruling a country and I am faced with this problem, of course I'm going to prioritize men, because they are the ones that need to look after their families. And by the way, if you look, I think even the police force in Afghanistan, they have women, because they need women in jail. They have women. Doctors. They have women. So it's not like us. There isn't. But you have to be careful with the picture that the West try to paint for us, to show, oh look, when we were there everything was fine. Now that we left and certain people took over, look how it is. What are the universities they have built? What are the schools they have built? What are the hospitals they have built? Nothing. They destroyed the country for 20 years. They've been destroying it and sponging all the resources that they can take. And at the end, they will look, just to let you know, when America needed to go, there was a meeting, the peace treaty that was brokered. It was supposed to give $9 billion to Afghanistan. You know what they have done? They left and they did not give them a penny. Can you imagine what they could do with $9 billion? Of course they can build universities with it, hospitals with it. So who let them down? It's the West who promised, and then once they were safe, that's it, they negated on their promise. So I would always take with a pinch of salt this kind of programs that they show and documentaries and that. I'm not saying that there aren't things that we need to look at. Yes, there are. No one is perfect, but we have to be careful to what they want to sell us, what they want us to understand regarding certain situations, sister.
Yeah. Thank you for your view. And of course,
You're welcome.
I take these documentaries, not, I know this is from one side, maybe from an atheist or a Christian side, and not with the morality from
feminists,
yes,
you know,
of course.
so
and these liberal democracy,
yes,
West
kind
morality,
of, yeah,
of course.
yeah.
But I think there are of course some points of true, and I know it's not for every woman and not generalized, but I think there are some issues, of course. And my opinion was just is that the Muslim world help each other more.
Yeah, look, you're you're absolutely right. We don't do enough for each other,
Yes.
but we, as the public, we need to look. We need to kind of unite between us. You need to. It's the problem is that the puppets that are on top of the echelon, them are the ones that are not allowing all of these to happen. You know, 9 billion pounds. A few Arab countries could have gathered together and they could have solved the issue for Afghanistan, but none of them has done. Look, even just look to the neighbors, Pakistan. Yeah, it is more open. They have got all the kinds of freedoms between brackets that they want to have. Yet they have dire economic situation.
Yeah.
So the politics is, I'm afraid, sister, it's the politics that plays a role nowadays. Not the religion, but it's politics that is in the midst, and it's the one that try to tarnish the image of Islam by using different, but by just merchandising certain ideas and trying to make them as to be the kind. This is how Islam is. This is what would happen if an Islamic kind of ruling is to be applied, and that there will be kind of people will be 100 of years backwards and all these kind of things. And in reality, no. Actually, Islam prospered when Islam was applied. When Islam was the norm, we prospered. We, the first university in Europe, in Spain, look in geometry, in building, in photography, in everything, in medicine, in all sorts. So we were the lead. We were leading. And even until now, they still taking advantage of the look. No computer would have been now working. This is what we use in the laptops or the computers. We were without the algorithms of Al-Khwarizmi, none of this would be working. So Islam has contributed and will continue to contribute if it is left to run in the way it should be running. But I'm sorry, they kind of just try to kind of decimate it and make it kind of like an authoritarian regime, and which is not.
Yeah, but this is also a point which disturbed me when I watched these documentaries, because even if they said this is not the Islamic teaching about how they behave, it's still the people will forget, and they will mix it up again later on when they are still watching. That there are some points which is against the Islamic teachings, but the people, a lot of West people are ignorant about the Islam, and they will mix it up. And this is what also disturbed me, because I think if someone behaves against the Islamic teachings, who made then a bad picture about it, it's also a responsibility for us Muslims to correct our brothers and sisters.
You're absolutely true. Look, sister, let me just give you an example. For example, here in England, we have got certain schools, and Catholic schools. There are 4 Catholic schools for boys and Catholic schools for girls. They don't allow free mixing.
Yeah.
And this is in Europe, but it's halal for them, haram for us. You understand?
Yeah, it's also allowed here I know here in Germany we have Jews schools.
Yes, Orthodox ones.
But we don't have Muslim schools. I already searched around it, but the only Muslim school is in Austria. And I don't want to be so
different country,
separate from my
different
kids.
country. go across borders and that. Well, it just shows you the how the hypocrisy of the West. As I say to you, sister, if they want this problem of Afghanistan to be solved, let them give them the 9 billions which is theirs, their money.
And
Let
also
them
leave
have
them
their
alone
9
after
billion.
that.
Yeah, and after that, look, they have got a lot of minerals which will make them rich. They have a lot of natural resources, but in order to kind of like work at the natural resources and start having some payment out of it, you need the first step, and for that you need money, and the money can only come, as I said, if they let them have what they have promised them to have. That was
And
an
I
agreement.
think they don't have to give them the money back they promised. I think they have to give them the money they own them because of the
Yes.
destruction they did.
Yeah, of the destruction 20
Yes.
20 years before them, the Soviet Union, when the Soviet Union, Russia was still called the Soviet Union. Then after that came a short spell of the Taliban, and then after that came the war on the terrorism, as they like to call it. And for 20 years, it's not easy. There are generations after generations, sister, that they knew nothing except war. There is a lot of trauma. People are traumatized. People are lots of problems. May Allah Jalla wa Ala guide. May Allah Jalla wa Ala guide all of us to the right path, and inshallah, make it easy for all Muslims, wherever they are. How is da'wah in Germany? How is the da'wah in Germany?
Should I be honest?
No.
I prefer the English Dawah, of course. I watched all of your videos in the park.
In the park.
And also the online, and I'm a favorite fan of Muslim Lantern and of Hamza and of Hashim and everyone, because I have the feeling that there are some German, of course, who makes dawah, but they sometimes seems a little bit too aggressive in their tone and how they to present the message. It is not my kind of how I like to get teach or schools or get information. I like the little bit more calm way, because I have a lot of stress on the day with 3 kids, and I don't want
May Allah preserve them for you, inshallah.
Yeah, I prefer the English dawah.
Inshallah, a few of us are coming in about 2 weeks time, and we're gonna spend 2 weeks, inshallah, in there doing da'wah, inshallah.
Oh, you go to the UEFA Championship, isn't it?
But if I want to move,
yes,
I will prefer to move in a Muslim country, not in the West country.
Oh, you have more freedom to give da'wah in this non-Muslim country. Trust me. I'm not just exaggerating. I mean that.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, no problem. All right, sister. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Barakallahu fi.